Hey, how's it going, YouTube? We've got Qualifier 5 for North America going down. The second to last qualifier of the season already underway. Pretty crazy how fast this RLCS is moving by. With that said, if you guys enjoy the content, as always, like, subscribe, notifications. We appreciate you guys coming and hanging out. We'll be doing watch parties all weekend long. So if you guys want to tune into the stream and get rewards, we do have RLCS drops now on our Twitch streams when we watch the matches. Come hang out with us, get some free items. It's always a good time. But we're going to jump over. We already did these predictions with chat earlier and kind of talking about the thought process of them all. And then I'm going to speed run them with you guys so we don't have like hour-long videos. First things first, as we make this a little bit easier to read, it is going to be pretty much the high seeds all the way through. I don't think there's any reason to question G2, Gen G, Space Station with the way they're performing. And then outside of that, I think we have a really good fight between teams anywhere that are ranked 4th to like 7, 8. And are we going to see OG take the lead? Are we going to see Snowman take the lead and show their consistency? Is Shopify going to continue to show their offense? Will LG bounce back? What's going to happen in those regards? And will that pesky M80 team finally win a quarterfinal? That's kind of the things that we're answering. So with that in mind, obviously our top 4 winners are going to be your G2, Gen G, Space Station. And from there, then you get, like I said, a mixture of those other rosters I literally just talked about. Snowman, M80, OG, Shopify Rebellion, and Luminosity. The cool thing, if you guys didn't see the way that I predicted these things yesterday on the YouTubes, is that we talked about there's a lot of rematches. Shopify and TSM fighting back-to-back again. Last time it did go to 5, and it was a very close series. This time I have Rebellion, I think, moving a little bit more in the positive direction. I would like to assume that Eclipse and them put up a better fight for TSM. I just think Rebellion's offense is the real deal. I would like to see some consistency, and maybe this is a little bit of bias, but I do like what Rebellion put together last week. I think this is going to be the first time in a long time they go back-to-back top 8s. Crazy, I know. As for Snowmen, I want to say that they have figured something out. I feel like there is a certain level of confidence that has been instilled. And although some of their matches may be close, and usually the early ones, I hope that Snowmen realizes very early on in their series they can't take these things lightly. They cannot become complacent. I think Snowman's got so much potential. And shoutouts to Reveal as always. That kid is so good. Outside of that, in the upper round, you have the favorites moving forward. Pretty straightforward, I think, in that regard. G2 over Snowman. I don't expect Gen G to falter. I think with new coach coming in and them trying to figure out some of the new strategy that they're implementing, another 2 weeks, 1 week of practice and scrims and qualifiers, plus another week of scrims going into a main event, I expect Gen G to be back to form and going 3-0. Space Station, I would like to say that they are the true 3rd place team in this region, and they are going to prove that. And outside of that, I think Shopify, if I'm going to believe in their offense and Luminosity's struggles, I'm going to continue to do that and double down on that with Luminosity losing in that lower round. Outside of that, I think you have the better teams winning. Again, if you guys didn't see, Spate is now the young whippersnappers. They did get picked up. Shoutouts to them. Congratulations. Dignitas, I do have some early struggles, though. I think Dignitas may struggle. My frustration, I think, with Dignitas is while I do like the fact that they were trying to make adjustments and proving that there is complications, whether it be with Evo's motivation or whatever the reasoning is. But in scrims, they decided to go with Gyro for a reason. And they did qualify this time for a reason, but it was through lowers. And because of that, I can't confidently pick them moving forward. Plus, based on the things I've heard on scrims, and I only take scrims into a little bit of account. But Dignitas, to my knowledge, I don't think they're as strong because Evo did bail them out of a lot of issues. There was a lot of times where when they lost to NRG, I don't think Dignitas particularly looked bad. We did the replay analysis on it. But there was certain times where you could tell that it was a little bit disconjointed, some kind of overlap in and maybe communication not really happening, or people just kind of getting quiet in the comms when things weren't going their way. But they still put up a pretty good fight against NRG. A couple things go the other way, they would have made top 8. So I think missing Evo's mechanics is going to definitely be a thing, and my worry is that Gyro is going to regress into defense with Stizzy and Arsenal, which means that he is going to lack some confidence on the ball and isn't going to be able to provide that carry. Or maybe it's the opposite. I don't know. I love Gyro. I hope he proves me wrong. I hope it is just that, where him taking more of a step back means that he can survey the field and then be more impactful. We'll see how it plays out. But I believe Arsenal and Stizzy are going to wreak havoc on offense. Hopefully that doesn't become an overextension and leave Gyro back to defend on his own. Then we have the high seeds winning over Gen G and Space Station. Unfortunately for Space Station, they run into Gen G again and lose. G2, I don't see losing to Rebellion anytime soon. I think their offense is too overwhelming for Rebellion, and while their midfield presence is great, G2's quick and speedy. I then have Energy with Aqua gaining momentum off of last week and beating Luminosity, which is a massive win for the standings. And then M80 over TSM, keeping consistent with the Swiss brackets. M80 not making it out would be weird. Them losing in the quarterfinal would be normal. And then I have Snowman over Cloud9 and OG in a close one over Moist. And then I just think that these two teams are better. I would like to see Young Whippersnappers potentially upset here, but based upon how Netherlands Canada has performed, I wouldn't be surprised if they end up continuing to find themselves further on in the bracket. We then go to round 4. Space Station comes in as your 3, OG as 4, and Snowman as 5. I think actually Snowman has a better game differential up to this, so they end up going 4 instead. Yeah, we have that on the side. So those 3 teams winning in high seeds. I could see any of these being game 5s going the other way. I might see Energy surprise and they get a win over that. And then on the other side with OG and Rebellion, I could see Rebellion potentially winning on this as well. Again, anytime it's a game 5, it's a coin toss. We literally did a coin toss for this one. We literally flipped a coin and we gave it to the high seed, which was Rebellion. On the low side, I have an upset actually on Moist. They just don't see the same without Achieves. I don't know what it is, but they just don't look like they have the same impact that they once did with their top 8. Part of that is also teams getting better and more comfortable with themselves as they build and develop into the second split. TSM over Dig based upon what I said about Dig earlier, and then I do have Luminosity beating Cloud9. I would like to think Luminosity is going to be able to play gritty against Cloud9, but I think Cloud9's counter style might be problematic. I would like to assume that Greg and the guys recognize, hey, Cloud9's going to play defensive. They're going to try to draw us in. Just demo them. Now let Reddles move forward and go for the bumps and demos while we hold in midfield, and then we will have a 3-on-2. We'll see if they play it that way, but Cloud9 definitely has a very easy counter to happen, but I will say Cloud9 plays a very frustrating game, but it is exploitable. We then go into round 5. These are qualifiers. I do have Shopify going ahead because I do think they're better than the Netherlands America team. Energy over TSM because I'm going to choose to believe in the Aqua pick. And then I have M80 over Luminosity in a battle. This one could be very, very fun. Could go either way. This is also basically what is your World Championship life on the line. You guys got to understand, now that we are 1 qualifier out, we only have 5 and 6 left. What happens in 5 will basically either end people's seasons and basically make them statistically not in the running anymore if they don't make the major, or it will still keep them alive. And when I say that Regional 6 or Qualifier 6 is going to have more on it than any other event we've ever seen because of only a 2-split system, you have no idea the level of pressure. I cannot imagine the stress that's going to be going into those games. But the 8 teams we have, G2 Gen G, Space Station, Snowman, OG, Rebellion, Energy, and M80. A little bit of parity. We try to mix it up a tiny bit, not too much. With that, we then get into our quarterfinals, and we can zoom in and enhance on these. Quarterfinals, G2 versus M80. M80, unfortunately, is going to feel the wrath of a top 2 seed yet again. I just don't see them ever beating a team with the likes of Gen G or G2 with the best of 7 on the line. They're too good at making adjustments. Unfortunately for M80, yet again, they're going to fall short. That puts them, what, 0-5 in quarterfinals? OG Snowman, I decided to make it a little bit fun and put OG ahead and give it to the veterans. And maybe they figure something out against the high mechy young offense. That could be, realistically, I would assume in this matchup that Snowman wins and basically secures their spot at the major. But I'm going to go with OG because then this ties their points. I know it's a little bit of manipulation in the bracket, but I would like to see both of these teams tied exactly at the 4th place spot trying to make it in. I then have Gen G over Energy because I don't see that Energy team ever beating Gen G. And then Space Station over Rebellion. I would like to assume that Space Station, with the favorable quarterfinals, because they are closing out their series finally, are able to be rewarded for it. And then they run into the big bad Gen G and win this time. I know, Lawler, your script's amazing. How could you ever predict that after losing so many times? They finally win when it matters the most? Yes. Because I really want Space Station to go and compete at the major. Desperately. And this basically confirms that. It basically gives us Space Station at the World Championship. A little bit of manipulation here, but realistically, I would assume Gen G wins this in like 6. But we saw Space Station go toe-to-toe against a G2 that looks like they've regressed a tiny bit. I don't know if that's going to be the case. I do still think Gen G is one of my favorites, as you guys have heard me tout about. But I think this would just make for fun results. And then G2 over OG. I don't see OG ever beating that G2 roster. And then G2 Space Station, a little bit of the same. A little bit of the same with G2. So last time we went to 7. This time I think G2 is going to have a much better look. Sathu's got something cooking, and it's going to give G2 the win. So that means for the overall points, we got to look at only this side. This is for all of our RLCS. We just want to look at the right-hand side that I've highlighted. G2 in first with 36 with a first and second. We've got Gen G then with a first and third fours, like a top 4 finish, what puts them in second. Space Station then with a pretty good gap below with the next teams. And then we have what is essentially a big, probably 6-7 team fight. TSM still alive, Luminosity still alive, but basically these teams, this selection of teams, all fighting for that last spot for the major. Hypothetically, what happens in qualifier 3, say OG does not make top 8 and they get a little bit less points, the favorable +2 is still in their advantage because of making top 4. But again, quarterfinals are still going to come down to the wire. You're going to see some potential results, maybe some chances that in the round 5 they knock each other out. There could be, what I am hoping is a tiebreaker somewhere in here. One single best of 7 that determines who goes to the major, and then those major points can potentially bump them into this area here. But there's got to be a lot of makeup that happens for these teams in order to do that. So we'll see what ends up happening. But realistically, I think this is a pretty solid, if I had to guess, I think these 4, you guys can't see it, but G2, Gen G, OG, Space Station is a pretty good look when it comes to who is very likely going to the major and then the world championship, if I had to guess. Dignitas, though, dropping really far down overall in the standings. Really, really rough. So Dignitas, if I had to assume, will not be in attendance. They need a ton of help. They basically got to win here on out. So with that in mind, that's what I've got for my predictions. Some of them, again, manipulated. I know they're not going to be right. We did pretty good for Europe overall, but it is chaos embodied. It is very difficult to predict these. But I think there's a few teams that are pretty consistent, which is good. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments down below. Always good to hear your thoughts. But I'm out of here. If you guys want to join us, twitch.tv/Lawler, or here on the YouTube, it's just the benefit of coming over to Twitch is then you guys get RLCS rewards. They haven't linked it to my YouTube yet. But yeah, come watch. We'll be watching partying. 12 p.m. Central, 1 p.m. Eastern is when they start. We've got that. We've got some play testing going on this weekend for a new video game that I've been play testing, which is pretty cool. A lot of fun stuff this weekend. But yeah, stop by. We'll see you next time. Peace.